A Haunted Mansion, Gay Love Story. In the quaint, picturesque town of Darbhanga, life moved at a pace dictated by tradition and whispers of old legends. Nestled among lush, green fields and winding rivers, the town seemed idyllic. But beneath its serene surface lay stories that were far from ordinary. One such story was about the haunted mansion on the outskirts of town, a relic of the colonial era shrouded in mystery and fear. Raj was a young man of 25 with striking features and a quiet demeanor. He worked as a teacher at the local school where he was well respected but kept to himself. His best friend, Samir, was his opposite in many ways, outgoing, lively, and always the center of attention. Samir worked at a local shop owned by his family, and the two had been inseparable since childhood. Their bond was more than just friendship. It was a deep, unspoken love that they carefully concealed from the world. In a town where tradition dictated the course of life, their relationship was a secret. They guarded closely, fearing the repercussions of being discovered. They found solace in each other, sharing stolen moments and whispered confessions in the dead of night. The mansion, known as Haveli Almas, had always intrigued Raj and Samir. It was said to be haunted by the spirits of two young lovers who met a tragic end. The story was a forbidden topic in town, spoken of only in hushed tones and with a hint of fear. As children, Raj and Samir had dared each other to venture near the mansion, but they never mustered the courage to go beyond its wrought iron gates. One balmy summer evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon and the town prepared for another quiet night, Raj and Samir sat on the rooftop of Samir's house. The air was thick with anticipation and the scent of jasmine. "Raj, what if we finally go to the mansion?" Samir asked, breaking the comfortable silence. His eyes sparkled with a mix of excitement and mischief. Raj raised an eyebrow, surprised by the suggestion. "Are you serious? You know what people say about that place." "I know," Samir replied, "but that's just it. They're stories. We're not kids anymore, Raj. Besides, we could use some time away from here, just the two of us. No one will bother us there." Raj hesitated, torn between his curiosity and the fear that had been instilled in him since childhood. Yet the thought of spending uninterrupted time with Samir was tempting. "All right," he said, finally, "let's do it. But we need to be careful." The following evening, under the guise of a fishing trip, they set out on their secret adventure. As they approached the mansion, its silhouette loomed large against the dusky sky. The air grew colder and an eerie silence enveloped them. The mansion's grand facade was cracked and overgrown with ivy, its windows dark and lifeless. They pushed open the creaking gate and stepped onto the overgrown path leading to the entrance. With each step, the weight of the mansion's history pressed down on them, and an unspoken understanding passed between them. They were not just stepping into a building, but into a story that had been waiting for its conclusion for half a century. Rising tension. The mansion's large wooden doors groaned in protest as Raj and Samir pushed them open, their steps echoing in the vast, empty foyer. Dust motes danced in the beams of moonlight streaming through cracked windows. The air was thick with neglect and a strange, almost palpable sense of sorrow. "Look at this place," Samir whispered, his voice bouncing off the walls. "It must have been magnificent once." Raj nodded, his eyes scanning the grand staircase that curved up to the second floor. The walls were adorned with faded paintings and intricate woodwork hinting at the mansion's former glory. "Let's find a place to sit and unpack," Raj suggested, trying to shake off the unease that had settled over him since they entered. They made their way to what appeared to be the drawing room, its furniture draped in white sheets like ghosts frozen in time. Samir pulled the covers off an old sofa and they sat down, taking in their surroundings. "Do you think the stories are true?" Raj asked, breaking the silence. "About the lovers?" Samir shrugged. "Who knows? Every old place has its legends. But it makes you wonder, doesn't it? What really happened here?" Their conversation was interrupted by a sudden chill that swept through the room, making them shiver. The temperature dropped noticeably, and the flickering candles they had lit seemed to struggle against an invisible force. "Did you feel that?" Samir asked, his voice tinged with both excitement and fear. Raj nodded, his eyes wide. "Yeah, I did. Maybe this place is really haunted." As they settled in for the night, the mansion's eerie ambience grew more pronounced. The wind howled through the broken windows, and the creaking of the old structure seemed almost alive. They huddled close, drawing comfort from each other's presence. Sometime past midnight, a faint, melodic humming filled the air. Raj and Samir looked at each other, eyes wide with fear and curiosity. The sound was soft, almost tender, like a lullaby from another time. "Do you hear that?" Raj whispered. Samir nodded, his heart pounding. "Where's it coming from?" They followed the sound, tiptoeing through the dimly lit halls until they reached a small study. There, on an old oak desk, lay a dusty, leather-bound diary. The humming seemed to emanate from it, growing louder as they approached. Raj picked up the diary, and as he opened it, the humming stopped abruptly. The pages were yellowed with age, filled with elegant handwriting. The first entry was dated 50 years ago, and the name, signed, at the bottom, caught their attention. The first entry read, July 15, 1974. Today, I met someone who changed everything. His name is Vikram, and he makes my heart race like never before. But I must be careful. In this house, in this town, love like ours is forbidden. Raj and Samir exchanged glances, a mix of excitement and dread filling the room. They continued reading, each entry revealing more about Arjun and Vikram's secret love affair. The parallels to their own relationship were striking and deeply moving. As the night wore on, strange occurrences became more frequent. Shadows moved in the corners of their vision, whispers floated through the halls, and the air grew heavier with each passing moment. It was as if the mansion itself was alive, reacting to their presence and the uncovering of its secrets. In one particularly harrowing entry, Arjun described a night when he and Vikram had been discovered by the mansion's overseer. The anger and hatred in the man's eyes were palpable through the ink on the page. Arjun wrote about the fear they felt, knowing that their love could cost them everything. Raj, Samir said, his voice trembling, what if something terrible happened to them? What if that's why this place is haunted? Raj squeezed his hand, drawing strength from their connection. We need to find out the truth, Samir. Maybe we can help them find peace. They spent the rest of the night reading the diary, piecing together the tragic story of Arjun and Vikram. The more they read, the more they felt the spirits of the two lovers reaching out to them, guiding them through the mansion's labyrinthine halls. As dawn approached, Raj and Samir found themselves in the mansion's basement, where the final entries of the diary had led them. The air was damp and cold, and the faint smell of decay lingered. This is it, Raj said, his voice barely above a whisper. This is where it happened. They discovered a hidden alcove behind a crumbling wall, revealing a small makeshift shrine. It was adorned with wilted flowers, old photographs, and two tarnished rings. The sight was heartbreaking and hauntingly beautiful. Samir knelt before the shrine, tears welling in his eyes. Arjun and Vikram, they were so much like us. They didn't deserve this. Raj placed a hand on Samir's shoulder, his own eyes misty. No, they didn't. But maybe we can give them the closure they never had. Unveiling the past. As Raj and Samir knelt by the shrine, a soft, almost imperceptible glow began to emanate from the rings. It was as if the spirits of Arjun and Vikram were acknowledging their presence and gratitude. Encouraged by this, Raj picked up the diary once more, hoping to uncover the final pieces of the puzzle. The last entry was different from the others. The handwriting was shaky, the ink smudged by what looked like tear stains. October 31st, 1974. They found us. We tried to run, but there was nowhere to hide. Vikram, he tried to protect me, but they were too many. They beat him, dragged him away. I heard him scream. They took him to the basement. I have to save him, but I know it might be too late. If anyone ever reads this, please remember our love. It was real. It mattered. The entry ended abruptly, the final words trailing off as if Arjun had been torn away from the page mid-sentence. Raj and Samir exchanged a look of determination. We have to finish what Arjun started, Raj said, his voice resolute. We have to find Vikram. They began to search the basement, feeling a growing sense of urgency. The air seemed to thicken with every step they took, the oppressive atmosphere pressing down on them. It wasn't long before they found a hidden trapdoor beneath a dusty old rug. With considerable effort, they managed to pry it open, revealing a dark, narrow staircase leading even deeper into the mansion's foundations. They descended cautiously, the air growing colder and more stifling with each step. At the bottom of the stairs, they found themselves in a small, dimly lit chamber. In the center of the room lay a figure, bound and lifeless. It was Vikram. His body, though long since decayed, still bore the marks of the brutal beating he had endured. Raj and Samir stood in stunned silence, the weight of the tragedy pressing heavily upon them. They knew what they had to do. Gently they untied Vikram's remains and carried them up to the shrine, where they laid him to rest beside Arjun's mementos. As they did so, a soft, warm light filled the room. The air grew lighter, the oppressive atmosphere lifting. Raj and Samir felt a sense of peace wash over them, as if Arjun and Vikram's spirits were finally at rest. The haunting intensifies. But their task was not yet complete. They knew that the mansion's overseer, the man responsible for the lover's tragic end, still haunted the mansion, his malevolent spirit bound by his own guilt and hatred. They needed to confront him to truly free the mansion from its curse. As they made their way back through the mansion, they felt a cold, dark presence following them. The temperature dropped sharply, and the candles flickered violently. Suddenly, a figure materialized before them, its eyes burning with anger and malice. "Who dares disturb my domain?" The overseer's spirit hissed, his voice echoing through the halls. "We're here to end this," Samir said, his voice steady despite the fear gripping his heart. "You have no power over them anymore. Your time is over." The overseer laughed, a chilling sound that sent shivers down their spines. "You think you can stop me? I am bound to this place, to their suffering." Raj stepped forward, his voice filled with determination. "Their suffering ends now. Your hatred and cruelty have no place here anymore. It's time for you to face your own actions." The overseer's spirit lunged at them, but as he did, the warm light from the shrine began to spread, enveloping the entire mansion. The hateful spirit recoiled, its form flickering and weakening. "You cannot defeat me," the overseer snarled, but his voice was losing its power. Raj and Samir stood their ground, drawing strength from each other and the love that had brought them here. "Love is stronger than hate," Raj said, his voice unwavering. "And it's time for you to go." With a final, anguished scream, the overseer's spirit dissolved into the light, his malevolent presence finally vanquished. The mansion seemed to sigh in relief, the oppressive atmosphere lifting completely. Resolution. As the first rays of dawn broke through the mansion's windows, Raj and Samir felt a profound sense of peace. The mansion, once a place of tragedy and suffering, was now filled with a gentle, comforting light. They returned to the shrine where the rings and mementos of Arjun and Vikram now seemed to glow with a soft, golden light. Raj and Samir stood in silence, paying their respects to the lovers, whose story had so deeply touched their own lives. "We did it," Samir whispered, his voice choked with emotion. "We helped them find peace." Raj nodded, tears in his eyes. "And maybe, in some way, we found our own peace, too." They left the mansion hand in hand, the weight of the past lifting from their shoulders. As they walked back to town, they felt a renewed sense of hope and courage. They knew that their love, like Arjun and Vikram's, was real and mattered. Conclusion. News of the mansion's transformation spread quickly through the town. The once feared Haveli Almas was now seen as a place of hope and redemption, a testament to the enduring power of love. Raj and Samir decided to live their truth openly, drawing strength from each other and the knowledge that they had faced and overcome something truly extraordinary. Their love, once hidden in the shadows, now shone brightly for all to see. They became advocates for change in their community, working to foster understanding and acceptance. Their story, intertwined with that of Arjun and Vikram, inspired others to embrace their true selves and stand up against hatred and prejudice. The mansion, now a symbol of love's triumph over darkness, stood as a silent witness to the power of courage and the enduring legacy of two couples who dared to love against all odds. And so, the story of Raj and Samir, intertwined with that of Arjun and Vikram, became a beacon of hope and a reminder that love, in all its forms, is the greatest force of all.